focus on what you want. And keep breathing, because the deeper you breathe, the more you can let go. The more you let go, the more all the power of the energy can flow. And you're literally breathing that light of the universe through every cell and turning on the cells with that light, because the core of the DNA is the light. So we're going to be talking about, you're going to get kind of a crash course in biophysics. Do we have any doctors or physicists or scientists here?
This one here.
Got one or two? Oh, nobody wants to admit it.
Is there a doctor in the house? Yes, there is.
And she's got to be, I know I've worked with so many people all over the world. She's probably the best veterinarian on the planet. So you're very lucky to have her here, and very lucky that she's very meticulous and knew all about fields and how detrimental fields had effects and how detrimental that was for the body and for health. So she understood. You already did the homework before meeting me, so you understood what I was talking about. Because most people don't realize you can't see, feel, touch radiation, but you're all being affected by it. And so, did you realize when you got your cell phone, the cell phones are now recognized as a class 1 carcinogen? What does that mean? They cause cancer. You're carcinogenic. Did you realize when you signed up to your cell phone or your Wi-Fi, you were signing up for, you were signing up for accelerated aging? Is that what you wanted? No, we want to flip everything from degenerative process. Dis-ease is degeneration. Degenerative process, whether it's arthritis, whether it's asthma, whether it's diabetes, whether it's cancer, these are degenerative diseases, right? Okay, so we want to flip everything. This is called epigenetics. We want to flip all the genetic expression to go from degeneration, flip your whole body into regeneration mode. Because your body, when it has the energy, wants to heal and function perfectly. So everybody knows how to charge their cell phone, but how do you recharge your every battery in your body, every cell? How do you recharge your whole body? And so that's, you don't have to understand how it works. It just really, really works well. So it's applied integrated biophysics. You're going to get kind of a crash course in that tonight. Come on. Why is it not working now? This was working perfect earlier.
You have to point to the computer.
Where? Oh, the computer's over there? That's still not working. It was flipping through stuff from the back of the room.
I can change it. Well, we can probably help. Right here.
Okay. Yeah, Nikola Tesla. Yeah, I've been called kind of the female version of Tesla. Is conceived that where he had his big power plant in Niagara Falls. My parents met in engineering physics, and my mother was a top secret government scientist. She was fissioning plutonium, working on the bomb the entire time she was pregnant with me. Oops. Yeah, and my dad, aerospace, electrical, mechanical, aeronautical engineer, both of them hyper geniuses. And yeah, so I came in a little different. I thought playing with Geiger counters and gyroscopes was what you did as a kid, you know, that was totally normal. So, but anyway, you know, I was conceived at Niagara Falls on their honeymoon, which is where Tesla had the big power plant. So, but I grew up literally making Tesla coils and doing all these experiments, building my own transducers, receivers, antennas, you know, circuit boards, ham radios, and healing all the animals on the farm. Because I could see how the energy went through the body like a circuit tree. Yeah. And so I came in as a healer and very much wanting to heal the world, but understanding the body, you know, it's biophysics, that's the physics of the body, and also like engineering, electrical, mechanical engineering, and structure, and how the body is a circuitry. So that's, everybody wants to know how I created this or developed this, but this is, you know, it's my background, I mean, as far as, that's what I did. But anyway, Nikola Tesla, this was Professor Mark Seifer, who came to a conference of mine, a workshop where I actually went fairly deep to our workshop. And this is what he said to me as he gave me the book, and it's what he had written in the book. He goes, I understood everything you were talking about, and he was literally shaking, and you blew my mind over 100,000 ways. So we want to blow your minds, open to new possibilities, highest potential. We want to blow your minds into a new place of knowledge, the information, dense intentional informational fields that are very, very useful, very, that they work. Bottom line is I want to know how well does it work, how effective, how efficient, how well do things work. So these things really work. So it's very practical. You know, you saw applied integrated biophysics. It's very practical. It's applied science versus theoretical. And so, anyway, and this is a great book on Nikola Tesla. This is his book. He's a world authority on Tesla. Oh, she's still working on getting the battery, huh? Okay. This is a 24-unit system, and if you noticed in there, maybe you noticed it looks like 12 strands of DNA on the screen, because it's designed to be like 12 strands of DNA to activate all the latent potentials of the DNA. And the light, the photonics, is off the screens. This is 24 units, 40 chairs. This is a new center in Sydney, Australia, called Aurelia. And everything is precisely laser aligned, very, very precisely aligned within 100-inch tolerance, because at the intersection of the fields, it creates a 360-degree sphere, which creates that null zone effect of 2.2 miles that she mentioned. It's NEOM 0 point. It's a 0 point technology. This one has 40 chairs in it, because, you know, so it's a beautiful spa. I want to give you a different vision, perhaps, than what you have here, of what some of the, you know, the applications of the technology is. So, next. And at MIT, I lectured for the cold fusion colloquium. I have been asked to be a consultant to MIT on the cold fusion, to come back and do some more. And actually, the title on the last one was what I presented at MIT. On the last slide. Do you want to go back to that? Because this is a cold fusion technology, and you can just flip it back one. Bioeffects of photonic fusion, scalar technology, and regenerative fields. Okay, so like I said, you're going to get kind of a crash course in the biophysics, but yeah, bottom line is you don't have to understand any of it. But it is real science. This is real, pure science. Okay, next. And we did get the Qi Technology of the Year award from the Chinese Qigong Grandmasters. I was actually very excited about that, because it was the first time in the history of the world that an award was given for a technology, because they recognized with their research, they found that it was regenerating the source Qi, the Wan Qi. That's the source light force energy in the body, and regenerating that. Was Qi, it's also Qi, right? Mm-hmm. It's your life force energy. It also means breath. So it takes, you just want to remember, it takes breath for energy to move. So you want to keep breathing. And breathing light, you see the light. Now this is Tony Robbins' system. It's actually 16 units in a circle. And that's here in Florida. He was using one of our systems in a center on the Gold Coast of Australia, and put it in his home here in West Palm area somewhere. But it's been recognized as the future of medicine. I've lectured for the Royal Society of Medicine in London. The head of the Royal Society of Medicine came in and goes, wow. You know, I mean, he stayed in the system a couple hours, and he said, this is the future of medicine. It's also been presented at the NIH by Presidential Advisor Dr. F.E. Chow. You know, we've done some really, actually when I was at the Royal Society of Medicine, we did some really cool pilot studies that I'll talk about as we go through this. Okay, next. But this is a future medicine. It's kind of like Star Trek or Star Wars medicine. Okay. And I tell everybody to visualize when you're in there, because you go to ideal optimal meditational states. The actual testing and research is that you go to a deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in the first 7 minutes. Okay, everybody knows the benefits of visualizing, right? This is Dr. Bob Del Monte. He was taught to meditate by Tibetan monks. And he used our technology and said that you could go deeper, faster, and activate the life force, you know, faster than anything in our technology. He's 86 years old in this picture. Whoa. He's awesome to work with.
No way.
He was also Marilyn Monroe's personal trainer for the astronauts, things like that. So you want to visualize, how do you want your body to be at 86?
Like that.
Or how do you want your partner's body to be at 86? That's a different visualization, manifestation. But anything and everything is either going to support you in your highest purpose, your highest expression, your greatest vision, or not, right? So you want to do the things that give you the vitality, the life force, that create the body, the life, the world that we want, right? Because you don't get super healthy by still poisoning yourself. So we want you to have the energy to make more intelligent, more informed choices and create what you want. He was not eating at junk in the box to create that body. Okay, so you want to, this is a rerun. Okay. Actually, that had a bunch of other information on it. Is it working now? No. Okay, I did want to go through this. Detoxification is one of the #1 things that, to be healthy, we're in this time, we are living in an absolute toxic soup. The toxins in the air, the water, the food. So detox, detox, detox is the key to health at this point. So this supports detoxification. I'll be explaining that. The DNA, nerve regeneration, nerve cell regeneration. One of the things we already spoke about was that total neutralization or nullification of EMF, ELF, radiations, microwaves. It literally collapses all the detrimental field effects, creates a null zone or a 0-point field. That is also a resonant field. It's a healthy, life-enhancing, intentional field. This is just a hyper-healthy, energetic environment.
ELF, please. What is ELF?
Extra low frequency.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. These are detrimental fields for the body. They cause cellular disruption. A 60-cycle field alone will suppress the immune system. It will actually create cancer eventually because of the stress on the system. And that's just your electrical fields. Okay, so we're going to create a hyper-healthy, ideal, optimal environment where every cell is supported in optimal function. The environment we would have in an ideal world. And it's superconductive cellular communication. One of the aspects of scalar is superconductivity. Well, that's what turns on all of your cellular communication, all of your cell signaling, which this last conference we heard a lot about that. That was talked about so much because that's part of your healing, but it's also what your stem cells do. So we're going to be activating and mobilizing the body's stem cells, because those are the cells through your whole body. If you cut your finger, how does that heal? It's stem cells. Well, by the time you're 80, you've lost, it's actually less than that, you've lost 95% of the body's stem cells. So how do we turn those stem cells, regenerate those stem cells, so that you heal like you did when you were a kid? Yeah. So, cellular communication, cellular hydration. A lot of aging is simply dehydration. Acute chronic dehydration is what's behind a lot of dis-ease. And oxygenation. Not enough oxygen to the brain or to the organs to be able to function optimally. Balance the pH, the blood sugar. This has antidepressant effects because the brain's oxygenated. It's synchronizing right in that brain. The ideal brain states. We've done a lot of brain research, and it's ideal, optimal super learning states and brain states. But people get very happy because of the antidepressant effect, because when you have the right energy, you feel like there's nothing that you can't handle.
Amen.
It's taking the body, resetting it. You want to reset the body from fight, flight, or fight, where the body is taking all its energy to cope with a hostile environment. People get stuck in stress and the stress reaction patterns. Whereas you want to reboot the body so you have all the energy, where it's all aligned, where you can use that energy to respond to all the stressors in your life appropriately. It's not like we're not going to have stress, but you don't want to stay stressed out and using all the energy of your body to react. And in survival mode, you want to be able to thrive and have all the energy to handle everything, because we're connected to the source energy. Okay, super learning states, reversal of autism, ADHD, reversals of Alzheimer's. The brain wants to function optimally when all the synapses and neurotransmitters are firing and you clear the inflammation. Induced meditational states, talked about that. Enhanced neurotransfer velocity. We want everybody to be superhumans to turn on your genius. So neurotransfer velocity, that's where everything is firing rapidly. And it's kind of like a rewiring of your body from old broken down copper wires that are short circuiting. Like we have elderly come in shuffling and moving slow, and they leave, and they leave their walkers behind. How many times have you seen that, Jim?
Quite a few.
Yeah, 100-year-olds and forget their walkers. They don't need them anymore because they're standing up and they're walking. And it's like the Energizer Bunny. They got, batteries back on. They're good to go. Like rewiring the body, like platinum. Okay. So let's create the future you want to have for yourself, for your life, for your partner's life, and for our world. Okay, next. True bioscalar energy, it's a field engine system is what we've created. These are field engine generators. We custom build each of these units to be able to create the fields that we want. And they're precisely aligned. They're custom built, custom installed to do what we created them to do, to generate multiple bioactive energy fields. Okay, including the Schumann resonance, which is your 7.83. That's like the natural timing pulse of the body. But these relate to your ideal brain states. So this is very grounding. There's books on earthing, there's books on grounding. This allows the body to ground and to discharge, energy and to function. You can read up on all that. And it's also the 13.8, this is a predominance of these frequencies. 13.8 cycles per second is found in the virgin rainforest. And I invented this from the rainforest on the big island of Hawaii. That's where I worked on this from. So there is a predominance of that hyper healthy natural energy that's very regenerating. And then you've got the nonlinear, non-Hertzian, fifth dimensional scalar fields or standing columnar waves, standing columnar fields. Your torsion field, we'll be talking about that, and which is like an infinity wave. When I talk about aloha, it's like breathing all that love to the heart and it flows out infinitely. You see, that's an infinity wave. Infinite waves. And that's light force energy. The heart is a torsion field. Okay, that's what it generates. So it promotes regeneration and health, hyper healthy energy. Next. And that's what you have to understand. This is just creating hyper healthy energy. And that's up to you what you do with it. This is a very simple system. 90-some% of our systems are in private homes around the bed. 90-some%. Side effects. Everybody wants to know what's the side effect. Why do you think it's around the bed in so many homes?
Did you sleep?
About that one. It's like sleeping in heaven. The circulation is perfect. The hormones are perfect. Everything is, you know, the body is perfectly supported in its ideal life force state. Everything works perfectly. Peak performance. Okay, next. Okay, we talked about neutralization of radiation, microwaves, electropollution. You have phase conjugate wave pairs that come together, creates an implosion, that release and a release of charge. And that charge is part of what the body takes and uses that charge to discharge heavy metals. So the detox of all the heavy metals is very, very, very effective. It's one of the most important things you can do is detox the lead, the cadmium, the strontium, the uranium, the plutonium. All the radioactive elements are also heavy metals. All the radioactive isotopes. You want to give the body the energy to discharge anything and everything that doesn't belong in your cellular matrix. This makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
I hope. Yeah. So that's very, very important. Again, the detox effect. That it's a way to clear the body of all those heavy metals. And that's part of why we have such great results with autism, because it allows the body to push out what created the dis-ease or degeneration in the first place, and allows it to repair, rejuvenate, and regenerate. The detox with using the system is vitally important, and that's why Dr. Anya has our EE salt in the room, and she has some other salts. You can use the salt after you've been in the system. When your body has the energy, it's going to take that energy and try to be pushing toxins out of every nook and cranny it can get it out of as fast as it can. Well, the world's easiest detox is a salt bath. Nothing does what a bath does. What's the largest organ of elimination?
Skin.
Yeah. And so the fastest way out, when the body's trying to push it out of every nook and cranny, you want to do a nice hot salt bath. Open up the capillaries, open up the pores. The toxins are a positive charge. The salt is a negative charge. It'll pull toxins like a magnet. Remember that one doctor came and brought her son, Jim, autistic child, and she brought him to your place, went to the hotel, gave him a salt bath, and she said, and she had done chelation and everything with him already, trying to treat his autism. She said the water in the bathtub turned black. Do you remember that one? I know she told me directly. But we hear this all the time. I have another gentleman, a Native American healer, and he brought his wife for the benefits for cancer, and it reversed all her numbers. She was doing great. But with him, he had been in an accident. His name is John Baer. The first thing he noticed is his hip pain was gone. He'd been in a really severe accident in 1971. And the first thing he noticed, that the hip pain was gone. But he said he'd also been a master metal worker. He had been a contractor. He worked on steel. He was a multi-million-dollar company with all the contracts for doing bridges and a lot of steel work, and being a master metal worker. He said the first 6 baths that he did, the water turned the color of steel. So he went to his workshop, got a magnet, because he said it felt like steel shavings in the bottom of the tub. Well, he could pick those up with the magnet. Yeah. Everybody knows how bad heavy metals are and how linked they are to disease. So this is an effective way, a lot easier than doing chelation, right? Send yourself to bath heaven, spa at home. You don't have to pay for all those chelation treatments where you're sitting in the chair and getting chelated. Everybody can do this. Simple, it's an old trick, but this is science. It's pure science. Also doing, as you raise your body temperature, you want to do a nice hot bath, not scalding, but a nice hot bath, because that steps up immune function. For each degree that you raise your body temperature, it accelerates your immune function dramatically, because it's called hyperthermia, which is also used to treat cancer. Hyperthermia. It's like having the benefits of a fever without your body having to take the energy to do the fever. And that's how your body clears viral infections, fungal infections, bacterial infections. Yeah, and after you do the bath, you wrap up in a big terry cloth robe, sweat those toxins out. Yeah. How much does that cost you? You know, if you want to use 2 cups of salt, it's pretty cheap. The bath for radiation, specific for radiation, is 2 cups salt, 2 cups baking soda. Okay, for radiation. And everybody needs to do it.
Different recipes, we have a sheet here, you can have copies from that, or ask us later, there's sheets with different mixtures for different applications.
Yeah, you have all my magic formulas. I've been sending people to bath heaven to heal anything and everything. I've been teaching over 45 years. I've been sending people to the baths to take their baths for over 40 years. So we've learned a few tricks along the way. And the magic formulas, she's going to give them to you if you want them. So on how to do that. So that's one of the most important things that you can do and can share. The skin's the 3rd kidney. So this is a way of taking all the stress off the kidneys. To me, it's criminal that our doctors, I mean, they had anatomy physiology. Why are they not telling people with diabetes to do salt baths to protect their kidneys? Because diabetes creates such kidney damage. Wouldn't you rather go in the bathtub and detox that way and support your kidney function rather than doing dialysis? Okay. Yeah. Superconductive, we already talked about biocompatible and informational fields that move at superluminal velocity. Superluminal velocity, that means beyond the speed of light. My dad worked on Mach 3, he worked on going beyond the speed of sound. Yeah, he worked on the top secret with North American Aviation. Well, so my mother was doing fission, right? Fissioning plutonium, working on the bomb. I'm going, how do we heal all this? We did fusion, which is kind of the antidote to fission. And my dad was working on Mach 3, breaking the sound barriers, and top secret. So we went to superluminal, beyond the speed of light. Scalar moves at 1.4 times the speed of light. That's pretty fast. Everyone wants to know how fast do you charge things. Well, that's how fast that light wants to move through you. Dynamic homeostasis, one of the aspects of scalar, is continual reorganization to higher levels of function. You're going to take the energy every single time you go in. It's cumulative. The body will take the energy, soak it up, grab that energy because it's bioactive. The body relates to this. Just like your cell phone knows what to do when you put it on its charger. Okay? Body's going to take that energy and reorganize every time. Going to try to reorganize to higher levels of function. People want to know, what do I have to keep doing it, or how much do I have to do it? What? How healthy do you want to get? How fast? If you don't get in there, it doesn't work for you. But every time you get in there, it's gonna take the energy. How much disease do you wanna reverse? Do you wanna just reverse some symptoms of disease? Or do you wanna be superheroes, super genius, super healers? Where do you want your potentials? We need the superheroes on this planet. The Transformers, the superheroes. We have all these capabilities and abilities that, you know, we want all of your highest potential turned on. Turned on. How do we heal the world? We've got a lot to turn around fast. And when you come in, you feel the energy. There's a bioactive field. So if you hold your hands up, you'll feel your healer's hands being activated, and you become the master healers because you're activating all of your own healing powers. Okay, so true functional medicine of the future. Next. Okay, scalar waves. EM zero field is what I want you creation of informational substructures. Next, we're just going to give you a step through a bit of this. This is a field study done by California Edison Electric Company. This was done in a system measuring all the fields. Total absence of harmful fields, including 60 hertz. Makes it work better, more coherent. These are carrier waves, so they carry the energy, they carry the information. It's designed to make anything and everything work better. ELF, EMF, radiation, which is our big dinosaur in the room right now. Not just the elephant in the room, it's the dinosaur. Most of our cities in the US, a lot of the big cities are dealing with 10,000 counts per minute. We should have been evacuating at 300 counts per minute, but where are we gonna go? So that's why our cancer rates are more than 1 in 2. It's creating a lot of our issues. It's called extinction level event. There's a lot we could talk about radiation. I have presented on radiation issues for the UN and things like that. You know, but nothing does what this technology does for reversing the effects of radiation in the body, whether it's hot particles from uranium with our veterans, because those hot particles are going in there and creating cancers and things. Whether it's the hot particles from the uranium, or whether it's the plutonium in the air, because every time you get on a plane now, the planes have 10 times more radiation. You're getting 10 times the radiation exposure on planes than pre-Fukushima, because the plutonium and cesium is hanging at 30,000 feet.
Yeah, I know that.
If I turn my Geiger counter on a plane, it goes straight into danger, danger, warning, warning, goes off major alarms, goes straight to will produce cancer. And 99% of our flight attendants and pilots are dying of cancer. So anyway, but we're all getting radiation exposure. So how do we counter that? How do you stay healthy living in a toxic suit? You want to go from radiation to transmute that energy, change that energy. Rather, radiation unzips the DNA, it breaks the bonds in the DNA, creates genetic damage. We're at extinction level event on this planet. ELE is called. So criticality, we're breaking down the DNA, degeneration, right? The genetics are being broken down because it breaks those hydrogen bonds. Well, with unified fields, you want to go from that radiation unzipping the DNA. Unified fields, you want to put your DNA back in its original matrix, its original torsion field, its original standing column of wave, unified fields. And the way it works with the fusion is the active hydrogen there repairs all the hydrogen bonds in the DNA. And why we wear the medallions and the bracelets is to maintain the integrity of the DNA no matter what you're exposed to. You want your DNA to be like Teflon in a good way. Teflon's very toxic, but in a good way, like water off a duck's back, so that you're no longer at effect of the radiation and all the detrimental field effects and all the toxicity. So when you are strong and literally, strong, we're activating the light at the core of the DNA, so you stay strong no matter what you're exposed to. So you have the energy to live your highest purpose, your greatest life. Anyway, so this is total nullification. This is some of the stuff. This was also tested originally in the 90s by the Tesla Society scientists. They came in with a whole box of meters and found that it was totally nullifying all the radiation with radiation sources. Okay, next. And they went out, 5.5 acres away to the base of the power transformers, and it, read 0.0. Is this cool?
Yes.
Everybody knows close to those transformers you have a higher leukemia rate and things like that, cancer rates because of the breakdown. So we want to transform the power grid. We want to deliver the power easily because we have more coherence, the carrier waves. We want to have all the benefits of technology without it harming us. Okay, because it makes it coherent, cohesive. Coherent waves means there's no disruption, distraction. Coherence means there's no impedance in your DNA function or in the energy. So next, scalar wave. I'll get off the scalar wave thing soon, okay? Is everybody still with me, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't bored you too much going down the.
Not at all.
Okay. Longitudinoids, which is another name for scalar, versus transverse waves. Transverse waves are your standard 60 cycle light sound. Okay, well, the scalar waves or longitudinal waves are created by a pair of replicant identical wave pairs. So it's called phase conjugate wave pairs. Okay, phase conjugate wave pairs precisely align. So at the intersection of that field, it creates this 360-degree sphere and a true standing polymer wave. Okay, so that intersection, scalar, these are non-linear, non-Hertzian, fifth dimensional standing polymer waves. I like this because this will be your standard 60 cycle. You never ever see that in our technology. You probably brought in your meters and stuff. Yeah, you never see that. That's a standard electrical. And this is more what a scalar wave looks like. You see how that could interface with the DNA? But these are, at 0 point, but you see it's on a rotation of an axis, so it creates this null zone through that center. Anyway, next. It looks like an infinitely projected Mobius on an axis. So that's your scalar vortex. Next. This is another depiction of an infinitely projected Mobius. And if you've seen the movie Thrive, those of you that haven't seen that, write down the movie Thrive, because it talks about the scalar vortex being the secret of the universe. And there's a lot of amazing information in that movie, because we don't want to just survive through this time, we want to thrive. We want to go from radiation exposures to total radiant health, radiant life, radiant light, literally. So this is your golden spiral, golden mean. That's Fibonacci sequences. This is the spiral of life, so there's a lot of mathematics in it. It creates that torus, torsion, they call it the breath of the universe, but this is the geometry of energy flow that is the basis. I specifically incorporated the Fibonacci sequences, the golden mean. Specifically created that into the technology because that is also our cellular